Former Vice President Kamala Harris had every right to say, I told you so, and y'all are just mad because you don't like admitting that Black women are right. If you're new here, my name is Zakiya Young, your favorite suburban Black girl, and let's talk about this. Y'all, stop criticizing this woman. This woman went above and beyond in like a third of the time that presidential candidates normally get to run for the presidency. And she warned us this would happen, and she happened to make a little quip in a speech that was about so much more than this. And y'all are focusing only on that and not everything else. Y'all are lucky this woman is still willing to do speaking engagements. This woman does not work for us because the country said, we don't want you to work for us. Y'all just love criticizing Black women, and it's so frustrating. And it's also fascinating that we, the public who are not in the government and have never held any governmental positions, are so critical about how she should be speaking. Y'all, we have got to stop with the respectability politics of it all. Like, part of why I wrote my show, Suburban Black Girl, is because I realized I've spent my entire life following the rules and bad shit still happened to me. You can live your entire life. And then I think a lot of the reason why so many people in their 40s come across as bitter and frustrated is because we realize that a lot of the rules that we were taught to follow are just bullshit. They don't protect us from anything. What they do is they make us work harder for people who don't deserve it. They make us not be able to get the benefit of our labor. It cuts down on our life experience because we are trying to avoid the pain of life. Newsflash, bad shit happens to people who follow the rules and to people who don't follow the rules. So for the Democrats to continue to try and craft this narrative of perfection is part of the reason why we're here. You know, it's like we hear people all the time saying like, "Oh, VP Harris wasn't relatable. Oh, former President Obama is not relatable anymore." Y'all, some of y'all need to go to therapy and get healing. I don't want a president that I can go get a beer with. I don't care if the president is somebody that I want to go to lunch with. No, are you going to do the job or not? Like, let's get it together. And again, former President Obama, and former VP Harris are no longer governmental officials. They don't work for us anymore. Not in the same way. Sure, they have speaking engagements, but their comments are based on their experience in the White House, which none of y'all have. So I'm going to need everybody to calm down and take a deep breath. Yes, it is a shit show right now. Yes, you are looking for someone to blame, but do not blame the two Black people who have actually been in the White House. Don't do it. Don't do it. They are not to blame for what is happening here. It reminds me of how a lot of kids of single mothers will blame their mom for their dad leaving instead of blaming their deadbeat dad. Like, stop it. Your anger is misplaced. And don't at me in the comments because y'all know I'm not saying all kids of single mothers, but y'all do know there is a narrative in this country that if a woman is a single mother, it's because she pushed away the father. Y'all are doing the same thing to VP Harris. Y'all are blaming her for something she didn't do. All she has been doing is working and fighting to save this country. And y'all said, no, I want my dad who really doesn't want to be part of my life. I want that dude. So let's heal and let's strategize on how to move forward. And let's get rid of this respectability politics because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We find the perfect shiny candidate. VP Harris was the perfect person to run. And then what did we hear? She's not relatable. She's not real. It's too perfect. So y'all got to figure out what you want and stop blaming the people who are actually stepping up. Like, your anger is misplaced, and stop it. Stop it. It's making you look foolish. Your anger is misdirected. And I don't understand why the anger is not going to the right place. It's also like, and I know this is a tangent, but I was fascinated by the amount of people who were silent about Elon Musk's Nazi salute, but then came down on Kanye. They're both spewing hatred, both of them, full stop. But if you were silent about Elon, but then came out of your face to talk badly about Kanye, then you're just picking and choosing. Either you're against anti-Semitism or you're not. You don't get to choose who you'll call out. Stop it. It's weakening your argument. They're both terrible people. They're both anti-Semitic. They both hate themselves. Stop. Now, I have to get back to learning my lines, but I needed to say that because I'm sick of hearing y'all continuing to drag Vice President Harris and dragging President Obama for just saying what we were all thinking. If he had tried any of this shit in the White House, don't hit me with it's not helpful. So much of what's going on is not helpful. But that man has every right to say, yeah, I never could have gotten away with this, because that man went through 8 years of hell walking on a tightrope trying to be the perfect Negro president. And then we see the alternative. I would say that shit too. Maybe it's because some of y'all don't actually say what you're feeling and you're mad that they have the freedom to say what they're thinking now. I think you should do that too. Because I would have been one of those people a few years ago that said, oh, that's not appropriate. That's divisive. And I would have said that because I didn't feel the power to say things like that in my own life. And now that I'm on the other side of that healing, I am going to speak. I am using my voice, and I am seeing how harmful that is to project my fears and my limitations on somebody else and judge them for having the freedom that I don't think I can have. Now, I have to get back to learning my lines for my solo show that is opening this Saturday at Outside In Theater in Highland Park. If you're in LA, come on down. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's the most important work I've ever done. The most important. And this is just the beginning. Use your voice. They are trying to erase us, but we have the opportunity to tell our stories. Do not wait for other people to tell your stories. You see how quickly they're trying to erase us from the libraries and whatnot, but they cannot stop you from telling your story. So I highly recommend y'all start writing, because before we know it, it's going to be up to us to share what really happened. It's going to be up to us to share our history. We cannot trust that our stories will be told or presented in a way that honors us and dignifies us. So now is the time. Let's stop complaining about it. Let's stop looking at networks and Broadway shows to tell our truth. Write it yourself.